You know there's more men out there. You know where they are. Find them, or I'll find you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RAMBOMANIA. And it's pop culture time. Yes, it's finally arrived. So let's attempt to finish off our gargantuan second season right. Tonight we're talking about the phenomenon known as RAMBOMANIA. A phenomenon spawned by this season's film in question, Rambo First Blood Part 2. Argumentally, many would say that this phenomenon was birthed upon the release of the original film titled First Blood. Many of you know it as Rambo 1, or simply titled Rambo. And if you go back and look through history, you can see this movement, so to speak, ramp up full force about maybe a little over a year before the sequel came out, with an insane marketing campaign, like amazing, perplex, crazy marketing campaign. And it just made me, it just made the sequel's movement and popularity in particular stronger when it was finally released. And I'm guessing the message here beyond or behind the scenes is that our boys could have won the Vietnam War if only we had let them. Very controversial topic indeed for a very controversial time. But for you misinformed or youngins out there who do not believe the myth or reality behind this movie and what effect it had on the general population and the world over, I'm going to try to enlighten you to show you how big in hotbed topic this thing really was. Let's look at some of the immediate effects it had on our pop culture. So, no matter where you looked from like 1984 to 1987, this movie was everywhere, in every window, in every storefront, in every shop front. And one of the biggest things pushing and promoting this Goliath-sized sequel was actor turned president Ronald "Rambo" Reagan. And he loved this movie. Actually, it's a fact that he loved all three. In the trilogy, it was films he very much held dear and close to his heart. So, we've all heard the stories before, standing on his lawn on the White House, holding up the newspaper to the paparazzi, laughing, Rambo's a Republican. Or giving a press conference saying, I just watched the new Rambo movie and I finally know what to do in the event of the next hostage crisis. Even comparing the premise on how to handle the happenings involved with Nicaragua, good old Contra country. So, and this went on and on, almost daily. Even after Rambo 3's release, Reagan was quoted, "I just saw Rambo 3, and this time he's really mad." So the news had a field day with this in parody, so to speak. There was a lot of cartoons of Reagan as Rambo. Mad Magazine, everything, man. There was a cool Spring of '85 2020 special with Sylvia Chase and Herb Luft. Wait, sorry, not Herb Luft. That's our news person. Walter Cronkite. That delivered into the extreme jingoisticness of, the times, all the misdirected pros and cons, calling him a one-man death machine here to soothe America's broken pride, and discussing the fallout, even though the movie, on their account, busted like $100 million in just 3 weeks at the box office, calling him the great white hope of Hollywood. And it's a fascinating piece of nostalgic, primetime news. Some things involved we will be talking about now. They also claim that 1 year ahead, like the 1 year ahead marketing campaign started the cult global phenomenon known as RAMBOMANIA. And, you know, Rambo does get a bad rap a lot, but back in these days, man, no matter if you were on the good side or the bad side, it was no joke. It was everywhere, in every magazine, in every newspaper, everywhere, almost all the time. But, you know, more importantly, what do you think about them labeling him a psychotic, comparing the sadness to the Ho Chi Minh Trail anniversary, with the sequel buffing it all in your face style? You know, to beg the question, is it proper or disrespectful to have Rambo save the day for our memories of the horrible things that had happened? You know, it wouldn't be the first time, and for sure it won't be the last, you know, as the next two films to come will embrace hot topics just as this one and its predecessor had. But, you know, do check out that 2020 RAMBOMANIA special, because there's some cool behind the scenes with Sly, you know, choreographing the Yushin fight with this other guy with the cap on. It's pretty cool. You know, a must for any Rambo fan. Really in-depth stuff. I'm sorry, I have a really bad cold today. You just gotta stick this one out with me, man. I've been trying to record this one for like over a week, and it's just, whoa, it's just been hard every day to get this one going. Now, for every yin, there is a yang response. And even though this movie was extremely overly successful, there was a lot of backlash involved. You know, Sly himself even had to call a press conference to talk the mission and meanings and message of the movie, saying that the message was not of his own, but of the American people, an ode to their voices lost in the rubble. Because, you know, this film would have consequences with actual people's real lives, as we'll hear later on when some hate crimes popped up as a result of Rambo First Blood Part 2. And the UN, you know, some of its members criticized the sequel as being a joke. A league of POW families even emerged to protest against this movie, some even on the fence themselves, which shows you the power of this film and the power it had over the generations of people and general public. And, you know, like James Rosenthal of the New Republic even went on as far as to launch a debunk attempt on the sequel and the original film, in fact. Time magazine on the fence, you know, as well, on the fence, threw a fucking fit in praise as well as against the movie. You know, Vietnam vet and Dr. Charlie Clemens, who was disgusted after watching the sequel. And I would wonder how he felt about the original film before going into watching this one. But, you know, well, he even launched a Rambo versus reality world protest tour. Like, what the fuck? You know, petitioning the Rambo movie everywhere, at every cinema. I know a lot of these groups that I've been mentioning actually teamed up together to take on Rambo as a whole, too. So, you know, critics against and for the film went nuts. You know, Leonard Maltin, as well as Siskel and Ebert, pushed out amazing Rambo reviews, to say the least. You know, globally, critics, you know, globally they had a field day. Like, really, this was just something that was everywhere. Everywhere. And even a full-length anti-Rambo documentary was even thrown out to the public called The MIAs, The Missing in Action, or Actions. Where Are They Now? A fantastic documentary, like fantastic. Really great stuff here. It just makes you think all around. You know, Frank Stallone's music video even portrayed some of these collected images for Peace in Our Hearts, featuring, you know, footage of returning veterans reuniting with their families. And there were even like riots and lynchings related to this movie, which is not alright by any standards or any means. I'm not promoting that at all. If you go back and look, I think 2 people of Asian immigration descent were killed Asian immigrants, two Asian immigrants, from idiots who watched the movie and took it too seriously. You know, newspaper critic quotes even went on to state, and this is critics who wrote this. This is the quote. This is the quote they gave this movie. It makes you want to go out and kill a commie. To that I say, fuck the critics, man. Fuck them. Can you guys do something fucking right for change? You know, little kids are listening to you and saying this and thinking it's all right to go out and stab someone to death because of what happened in the movie. Two very separate things, you know. So I'll leave you on that thought, you know, because we could go on about this one forever. You know, if you jump down that rabbit hole and do your own search, oh my God, you're going to be blown away by the stuff that you find. It's insane. It's fucking insane. In the end, I was going to cover all these as an individual episode. But in the end, I was just like, oh my God, you know, it would take 100 episodes or more to go through what we're going to be talking about tonight. So I was just like, no way. You know, with all these topics and then all the next episode's topics and all the Force of Freedom episode topics, you know, this time it's up to you segment, it would just take forever. Because this movie, you know, literally took, you know, over the world for a few years at least, you know, 1,092 days about. That's all you saw was RAMBOMANIA everywhere. So when we come back, we're going to look at some of the tidal wave of booty that swept the nation and overflowed the globe related to the Rambo First Blood Part 2 and First Blood and the Rambo franchise. So please stay tuned, for we'll be back right after this. And remember that RAMBOMANIA would be nothing without you. You know, you guys at home watching, you make all the difference, and I thank you so much. And I thank you, you know, again for joining us down this long road that is RAMBOMANIA. So once again, everybody, thanks for watching.
You heard! Prepare for arriving Fiona! Let's fly! Glad you made it!
Doing good. Okay, easy with that, man.